Welcome, family, to our November 21st evening prayer vigil. We'll begin tonight's program with a musical offering, followed by Kyungbei and Family Pledge number 3. Reverend Josh.
I will soar with you above the storm.
Thank you, Reverend Josh. Now, family, let's greet our Heavenly Parent and true parents. Chunjian, Chambumanim Kyungbe. Kara. Now, for our family pledge, we'll read in Korean and then in English. Number 3, Psalm. 전국 주인 우리 가장은 참사랑은 중심하고 4대 심정권과 3대 왕권과 원적 권을 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다. 3. Our family, the owner of Cheonil-guk, pledges to perfect the 4 great realms of heart, the 3 great kingships, and the realm of the royal family by centering on true love. Adieu. Now, for our opening prayer, I'd like to pray tonight. Dearest, most beloved Heavenly Parent, true parents of heaven, earth, and humankind, thank you so much that we can gather here tonight for this evening prayer vigil in the Harlem Family Center. We know how much you love Harlem and how much you love New York, and you have so much hope for us to be able to accomplish our goals. And I pray, Heavenly Parent, that we can fulfill them all for you, for our true mother. I know some of us, Heavenly Parent, are tired. Our bodies are worn out and worn down, but still, when we come to the evening prayer vigil, we feel refreshed and revived because our true Father is here. Damon and Huntonim, Hyojin are here, and we're very grateful. I pray that tonight you can speak to our pastor, Reverend Pastor Milhan Stevens. You can guide his words, his heart, his mind. He has so much responsibility on his second generation shoulders. So please guide him and his family. We're so grateful to have him. We're grateful to have his children, third generation children in our midst. We love them so much and we're so grateful. So I offer you this prayer in the name of Kathleen Seidel of the Blessed Central Family. Adieu. Now, family, let's welcome our pastor, Milhan Stevens.
Thank you, Kathleen. Thank you all for joining us tonight. I'm going to keep my update short. Actually, I'm going to also report on some goals. Also, I was in a meeting with with the parents, matching parents, and Damon was talking. I couldn't stay for the whole thing to be here. I'd like to mention what he talked about. So maybe I'll start with that. And so he came on and he started off making sure that we understood why he was there. He wasn't there to kind of tell us, okay, we have goals to achieve, and what are you guys doing slacking around? He was there really just to say that he felt that there were a lot of people who were single and like a few steps away from possibly being in a matching process. But because we didn't emphasize it, and the only way we emphasize things is by making goals, then that's and I think people have long been gotten over that. Some people have thought, how can you force a goal? This you don't want to pressure people into the matching. At the same time, I think people did need to be asked, how's it going? And then how grateful they were that, oh, thank you for asking because I don't know where to begin. So this was been, and then he talked about how important it is for the parent-child relationship when it comes to the matching. And so now we're encouraging all parents with eligible children to have a weekly conversation and heart to heart, and of course, ask questions about how this matching process works. So he gave it, but he also talked about how we have a lot of trauma and we are still beating ourselves up over our problems. It's like there's no way you get this far in our movement and don't have problems, and especially with all that we've been through and how much we've given. And so he's tired of kind of us beating ourselves up. He really wants us to be encouraged. He wants us to be proud of what we stood for all this time. And he talked about the importance of family just being together. Be together as often as you can. He gave the example of his daughter, who's Hannah, who's now on GPA, and she was kind of having a difficult traumatic experience. She went to a hospital to fundraise, which I don't know if that's the best place to fundraise, but she went in there and she was talking to people who are going to be admitted into surgery, and a lot of these people who are like, I I love what you're doing, but I'm kind of getting ready for a heart surgery, you know. And, uh, and she just went out and just felt so overwhelmed, you know. It's like, uh, yeah. So evidently he was glad he could talk to his daughter in in moments like this. Of course, he wishes they could be together.
Well, I have a question about this. How can she be admitted to a hospital? You either have to have a relative in a hospital or you sick yourself. A person can go to a hospital. Like hospital is not public places. Just curious.
Well, they don't really care about that. Uh,
Is in America this hospital?
yeah.
Sir. Okay. Wow. Just curious. The
I mean,
hospitals
you
are
can
very,
walk through
very
the automatic doors and meet people in the waiting room. Yes.
oh
But anyway,
oh waiting. Okay, no problem.
yeah, you're not going like past security. I think you're just the front or whatever. Um, and that's where I had to leave. So I don't know what else he said after that. I know Ayako-san was there, so hopefully, maybe she can share a bit more. I wanted to,
That's kind of like what you talk about often is wanting to take care of your family, be with your family. I mean, you've been sharing that with us for 3.5 years. So maybe now finally people are catching on. If we want to keep our children in the church, if we want them to get mastered and blessed, we got to take care of them as they're growing up.
yes, I like to say people tend to need to learn the hard way. Um, but we have short-term goals, and the long-term goals are definitely related to taking care of your family, being near them and feeling belonging. I just watched a video about someone who is saying that parents were instructed very wrongly by so-called experts. Even sleep training is very bad for your children because what happens is you teach your children that your emotions don't matter. Like when you're upset, that's when they're least available. Um, and Sayaka could never do. We tried to sleep train and didn't work because we just couldn't take it anymore. Uh, Now I'm glad, although it's been difficult. But kids are very attached, and actually, that's what children need. They really need to attach to the parents. This doctor, he was saying, if the most important time, actually, Dr. Young talked about this too. As long as you allow your children to really be attached to you from 0 to 2, they're generally going to be okay. Because in those very formative years, that's where they're trained on an instinctual level, like that my parents love me. My parents want me around. If you miss that 2-year window, it's very hard to get them to believe that you actually want them around. So not that it can't be done, but it's much more difficult. And so this kind of research is great for the kingdom of heaven, I think. So then the next generation won't have to suffer like we have. So that's all part of merit of the age, I think. Okay, well, speaking of military, I'm joking. Okay, we had these goals in Manhattan, all right, that I didn't pledge, but I just wrote them down last minute yesterday before a meeting. So our goal is to have 40 new members in 3 weeks. Sound good? What of course, a new member is literally someone who just signs up after a P starts seminar. So basically, it's like 40 guests who just sign a piece of paper. And I'm assigning 10 new members for each group. Okay, so Codon, uh, Latino Ministry, Filipino, and then Caribbean and everybody else. So that's like 4 groups. So not too crazy. In the service project, I just put a 1. I don't know what we're gonna do, but I don't want to get into this. It's a little bit complicated, but basically we want more parents talking to their children. And I'm looking at many of you. I know you have children of age. And then finally, Chamwanggung donation. So these are I'm basically looking at doubling our donation amount in 3 weeks. So we're going to really follow up on pledges that were not made yet. So yes, that's my update. Today's video is quite long. It's 30 minutes long. I'm not sure if we can get through the whole thing, but let's try. It's pretty cool because she is the wife. Wait, is she the wife of Archbishop Malingo, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So we're gonna hear from her. And Kathleen, how do you feel about?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
As long as it's not too fast.
Yeah. I'll do my best.
After the kidnapping incident of Archbishop, I felt I had no strength to even apologize or forgive anyone. Eventually, I left that place abruptly, and the moment I entered that room, I looked at the portraits of the true children who had passed away, feeling the sorrow of the true parents as if their bones were melting away. Pain I endured last night is not pain. To restore Catholicism, I had once decided to become a martyr, wondering if this is how it should be. I steeled my heart, forgetting that Juwanjan is a communal cemetery, and held an all-night vigil prayer. Beloved brothers and sisters, I love and respect you. I was wondering where this started.
So what they do is they have this little snippet.
Like a little promo?
Yeah, a little promo thing.
Okay. After receiving the blessing on May 27, 2001, the first thing Father said to me was, "Become the mother of Africa." After the kidnapping incident of Archbishop Malingo, the late December 2002, I came to Chunseon Wanlin Palace to attend the midnight prayer meeting and arrived at H.J. Heaven Earth Chumbo Training Center. However, before the midnight prayer even began, I experienced a truly absurd and shocking event. I couldn't stay in that place anymore, so when I tried to leave the Grand Hall, Father had someone bring an apple and told me to eat it and apologize to everyone. You might not remember this, but I ate that apple and felt that I couldn't even apologize or forgive. Eventually, I left that place abruptly the moment I exited the Grand Hall, facing the biting cold winds blowing from the frozen Champion Lake, struggling to keep my trembling body steady in a semi-conscious state. As I was leaving Champion Training Center, a taxi suddenly stopped in front of me. He asked, "You are a member, right?" "Get in, I'll take you there," he said. Since it was a taxi leaving the training center, I boarded the car without suspicion and kept silent as we drove for a while. He told me that this time was dangerous and advised me to go home and rest and come back when dawn broke. Thanks to his consideration, I rested at his home for a while. Then I got up and spoke to him. I said, "There is a Wanjan in Paju. Please take me there. Please take me to that Wanjan." I told him this. Actually, in 2002, he was a member from Gori and was involved in taxi transportation. Though more than 20 years have passed, taxi driver, if you hear this testimony, please contact me. Thus, for the first time, I went to a place called Panju Wanjan. The Panju Wanjan church leaders recognized me immediately and showed me the history of Panju Wanjan along with the prayer rooms. Then they guided me to the back room, the final prayer room. As soon as I entered that room, I looked at the portraits of the 4 true children who had passed away, feeling the sorrow of the true parents as if their bones were melting away. I realized the pain I endured the night before was not pain. After shedding tears that melt one's heart, I offered a prayer of lamentation. I prayed at the prayer rooms of Hunjanim and Daimonim, including other seniors who had passed away. I prayed at the prayer rooms of the seniors who had passed away. I was always anxious about meeting Unification Church members. When the temporary residence was set in the Jongno district, Director Kim Sok-jin asked me, "What can I help you with?" he asked. I told him that if anyone meets me anywhere, pretending not to know me is how they can help me. I said that. And while living at the Jongno District Church residence, I wandered outside and took walks in the park. I went for walks in the park daily. I found myself falling apart, wishing to restore the Catholic Church. I at once decided to become a martyr, wondering if this is what it would take. With that strong thought, I made up my mind. And for the sake of making a deal with heaven, I forgot that Panju Wanjan is a communal cemetery, and conducted a midnight prayer vigil from 12 a.m. to 4 a.m. At that time, my heart was, "Those who seek death shall live, those who seek life shall die." I kept repeating the scripture. Determined to die, I kept repeating the scripture. I successfully completed the 40-day midnight vigil prayer. After that, whenever I was in difficulty, I would visit that place, together with Director Im Gil-jae and his wife, conducting midnight vigil prayers in the mountains. I worked on solving difficult problems. What is the difference? What is happening now? Now, difficult problems are being solved promptly. Whenever that happens, I think the world has become so comfortable. It's amazing. We can also experience such good times. With that, I always feel grateful to this Chunchimwan with all sincerity. Staying up all night is not the problem. Till 1 a.m., that's nothing. As I used to conduct midnight vigil prayers in the mountains until 4 a.m. Of course, I had also committed my life and death to it. I didn't even know it was scary. One day, on Hansik Day in Korea, I went to President Yoo Hyo-won's Memorial Hall and offered prayers. But to me, he said, "I am not lonely here because many people come and go." But at the Memorial Hall of Teacher Lee Song-hyung over there, no one comes to visit. "Go and bring some flowers," he said. That's what he told me. So I was startled and didn't know if it was a dream or reality. So I went to the place he showed me and found Teacher Lee Song-hyun's Memorial Hall right beside the road. But there were absolutely no signs of people passing by. So I placed flowers there at times. Also, there was a painting I loved very much. And before going to Africa, I entrusted that painting to someone in Italy. But the person I entrusted it to said they heard someone tell them
그러니까 빨리 이
Maria
그림을
cannot
갖다
live
보여줘라.
without this painting. Quickly give it back to her. And that's
저에게
why they
가져온
brought it
적도
back to me.
있었습니다. 그렇게 하면서
Such things
이제
happened,
시간을
and time
보내다가
passed.
어느 날
One day I felt like I wanted to visit President Jung Young-won of the 124
정명원
couples.
회장님께서 회장님을 찾아가고 싶더라고요. 그래서 그분을
So I went to see
찾아갔습니다.
him.
그런데 그분께서
But then he
기도를
prayed.
하시고 저에게 하신
And what he
말씀은
said to me was,
밀링고
to
대주교가
prepare for the time when
언제
Archbishop Malingo might come out,
나올지 모르는 그때를 대비해서 환경권을
create the
조성하고
environment and do
바람막이가
things
될
that
수 있는
can
일을
act
해라.
as a windbreaker.
이렇게 하시더라고요.
He told me to do so.
그래서 저는 그
So the moment I
말을
heard those
듣는
words,
순간
the
아버님께서
words Father told me to
저에게
become the mother of Africa,
아프리카의 어머니가 되라고 하신 말씀이
crossed my
머리에
mind.
스쳐갔습니다. 그래서
So without
저는
hesitation, I packed up my acupuncture
침가방을
bag
챙겨들고
and
아프리카
went to
잠비아로
Zambia,
가서
Africa, and started
침봉사를
acupuncture service.
시작했습니다. 처음에는 저 혼자
At first, I did it alone,
지인 위주로
focusing on
하다가 두
acquaintances.
번째는
Then I
함께
teamed up with
공부하던
Kim
뜸사랑
Song, a group that
회원과 함께
did Mox
들어가서
Sebastian,
봉사의
gradually expanding
범위를
the scope of our
조금씩
service.
넓혀갔습니다. 그 후
After
같이
that, a fellow
왔던
volunteer who came with
같은
me
봉사생이 뜸사랑의
posted about the African
소식지에
acupuncture
아프리카
service in the Tum
침봉사를
Salang's
올리면서
newsletter,
구당
and sponsor Kim
김남수께서
Nam-soo praised our
아프리카
African volunteer
봉사활동을
activities,
칭찬하시면서 저의 스폰서가
becoming our sponsor.
되주셨습니다. 그 후 저는
After that,
잠비아와
for the sake of Zambia and
선주교
restoring
복귀를 위하여
Catholicism,
밀링고
for
대주교의
creating an environment for
환경권을
Archbishop Malingo,
위해서는 폭넓고
with the
전문적인
intention to provide
봉사를
broad and
해야겠다는
professional
마음으로
service,
잠비아의
equipping
의대까지
even with
갖춘
Zambia's medical
잠비아
school. I met the president of
종합대학 총장을
Zambia Comprehensive
만났습니다.
University.
그분은
He is a very famous person who has served
문교부
as the
장관을
Minister of
거쳐
Education and
참
Culture.
많이 유명하신 분입니다. 그래서 찾아가가지고
So I went to him, showed him a video about
침뜸에 대한
acupuncture,
동영상도 보여주고 아주 뭐 여러 가지
and we had various
대화를 나눴죠.
conversations.
그 후
After that, the
그
university
총장님은
president was really
정말
interested in
흥미로워했어요. 침뜸에
acupuncture.
대해서. 그래서 저는
So I asked for the
이
opportunity to
침뜸을 잠비아 의대
explain this
교수들과
acupuncture to professors and doctors at
의사들에게
Zambia's
설명할 수
medical
있는
school.
기회를 좀 주십시오.
I asked, please give me an
라고 해서
opportunity, I said, receiving his
그 허락을
permission.
받고 진짜로 그렇게
I
설명을
generally spoke
했습니다.
like this,
의사들을
gathered the
모았고
doctors and explained.
총장께서는
The
기꺼이
president
저희
gladly
제안을
accepted our
받아들여
proposal,
주셨고 우리는
and we,
에이즈
along with Dr.
전문
Mohaba's
파트
AIDS specialty
무아바
team
박사 팀과 잠비아 대학
at Zambia
병원에서
University Hospital,
침뜸
conducted clinical
효능에
trials
대한
on the
임상 실험과
efficacy
함께
of acupuncture
침뜸 봉사를
and engaged
하게
in acupuncture
되었습니다.
service in Zambia.
잠비아에서. 그래서 저기 나오는
So what you see on the
화면은
screen here,
한쪽은 빨간 옷을
on one
입은
side is the
것은
University
잠비아 대학교
president of Zambia wearing a
총장님이시고
red shirt,
그 옆에
and
활짝
next to him
웃으시는
is a
분은
person smiling
영국에
brightly,
유학까지
a very
마친
famous doctor
아주
who even studied
유명한
abroad in the
에이즈
UK,
파트의
an AIDS
박사님이신데
specialist doctor,
그분이 이제 저와
and he is
함께
now starting
임상
clinical
실험을
trials with me.
시작하게 되었습니다. 그 소식을 들은
Upon hearing
부당
this news, sponsor Kim
김남수께서는
Nam-soo
아프리카
did
잠비아에
not spare any
지원을
support to
아끼지
Zambia
않으셨고
and
본격적인
helped us with
봉사활동을
full-fledged volunteer
도와주셨습니다.
activities.
그래서 저는
So in order to carry out this volunteer
합법적으로 이
activity legally,
봉사활동을 하기 위해서
I
윤리위원회의
obtained
허락을
permission from the
받고
ethics
또
committee
잠비아
and also
대학
contracted
의대
with Dr.
교수인
Mohaba, a professor.
무아바 박사와
I made a
계약을
contract with Dr.
맺었습니다.
Mohaba,
그리고
and together with a professor from the Department of Physical Therapy,
치료학과 교수와 함께 침뜸
I was able to enter the
임상
acupuncture
실험에
clinical
들어갈 수
trials.
있었습니다. 그래서 우리는
So we
간단히
proudly
잠비아
conducted volunteer
유니버시티
activities at Zambia
티칭
University Teaching
호스피탈에서
Hospital,
봉사활동도 하고 침뜸
and
봉사도
also
하고
provided acupuncture
이런
services,
쾌거를
achieving
거두게
such
되었습니다.
feats.
우리가 이제
It's fine to do
봉사활동을
volunteer
지역에서
activities
하는
at a
건
university,
괜찮은데 전도를
but for
위해서
witnessing, it
교회에서
must be
해야
done
되기
from the
때문에
church.
이 법적
So we must follow
절차를
these
꼭
legal
밟아야 돼요.
procedures for medical
의료봉사.
volunteering
의료협회의
by
허락을
obtaining
받고
permission from the Medical
또
Association and going to the
보건복지부에 가서
Ministry of Health and
자격증을
Welfare to
받고
change
가지고
our
우리가
qualifications. We
정식으로
officially began
침뜸
acupuncture
봉사를
service
교회에서 하게
from the
되었습니다.
church. How
얼마나
dedicated the
제가
Tumsarangs we've trained
길러온
were.
뜸사들이 열심을 다하고
and how
봉사생들이
dedicated the
열심을
volunteers were.
다해가지고
As a result, we
정말
saw so many
많은 기적을
miracles.
나타냈습니다. 이게
This is the
자격증입니다.
certification.
그래서 많은
So many
기적을
miracles
나타내게
happened.
되었는데 이런 사람들이
People like
이렇게
this
변하고
changed.
또
Oh my God.
요랬던
And legs were like
다리가
this
이렇게
changed.
변하고 그러다가
And then this became
이게 감당이 안 되는
unmanageable
거예요. 에이즈 환자가 너무나
because there were too
많으니까.
many AIDS
그래갖고
patients. So I walked
동네를
around the neighborhood
다니면서
doing AIDS eradication
이제
activities.
에이즈 퇴치 운동을 했습니다. 에이즈
I did
퇴치
AIDS
운동을
eradication
하고 또
activities
결혼한
and met
신부들도
married
만나고
priests
이제
doing many
많은 활동을
activities.
하다가 영계에서
A powerful
강력한
message came
메시지가
from the spiritual
왔습니다.
world.
빨리
Quickly escape the
교황청을
Vatican and go to the
탈출해서
Chunjungun entrance
천정궁
ceremony.
입궁 대관식에 가라. 이런 메시지가
This is
온
the
거예요.
message I received.
그래서
So upon
밀링고
hearing that message,
대주교는 그
Archbishop
메시지를
Malingo
듣고 또 일이 안 돼요.
faced
일이
more
안 돼,
setbacks.
거기에서.
Things didn't work out
그래가지고
there. So on June 6,
2006년
26, at 4
6월
p.m., I took a
6일
flight,
16시 비행기를 타고 교황청을
escaped the
탈출해서
Vatican, and came to
한국에
Korea.
와가지고 일주일 수련을
I underwent a
받고
week of training and
봉단장을
prepared
하고
myself.
그리고 6월
Then on June
13일
13, during the
천정궁
Chunjungun entrance
입궁
ceremony and coronation
대관식이면서
of true parents as the
밀링고
king and queen,
대주교의
I celebrated Archbishop
78세
Malingo's
생일을
78th birthday at
천정궁에서
Chunjungun.
맞이하게 됐습니다. 그 후 우리는 미국을 시작으로
After that, starting with
천주교
USA,
국가를 두루다니며
we traveled to Catholic
밀링고
countries.
대주교는
Archbishop
정신
Malingo, portrayed as
이상자로서
mentally
그동안에 책이
unstable,
많이
had
나왔어요.
many books published
밀링고
during that
대주교는
time.
뭐
They forced Archbishop
마약을
Malingo to take
시켜가지고
drugs
억지로
and
갖다가
set him up.
세워놨네. 뭐 그런 책도 나왔어요.
And such books were
실질적으로.
actually
그럼 뭐
published.
밀링고
And since Archbishop
대주교는
Malingo was
무슨
portrayed as
뭐
such,
정신 이상자였네. 그럴 수밖에 없어요.
nothing much could be done.
그쪽의 이론
But their
가지고는
theories, they
밀링고
said
대주교의
Archbishop
결혼은
Malingo's marriage was
정상이
not normal,
아니었습니다. 뼈와 살이 다
completely created from a life
완전히
of
독실
celibacy.
생활로 만들어진 밀링고
Archbishop
대주교는
Malingo getting married
결혼을 한다는 거 있을 수가
was
없는
something
일이에요.
that couldn't happen.
그리고
And even to train a
우리가 목회자
pastor,
하나를 길러내는데도
a
어마어마한
tremendous
시간이
amount of time is
필요합니다.
needed and
돈도
money as
필요하고.
well.
그런데
But to raise this
이
archbishop,
대주교 하나를 길러내는 데는 시간과
it can only
돈과
be created by
참
investing time, money, and a
많은
lot of
것을
things.
투자해야만 탄생이 되어지고 이들은
They say
우리
that although
대주교는 좀
our
늦어서
archbishop was
12살에
started
출가를 해서
taking vows as a monk at the
시작을
age of 12
했지만
years old,
보통은
usually
10세
most people
안에
begin their monastic life
시작을
before
한다고
age
그래요.
10.
수도 생활을 주니어를
Going through
거쳐서
junior,
시니어를
senior, and
거쳐서
superior
수페리어까지
stages
가는
takes
데는 보통
usually over
20년
20
넘게
years, 25, 30
25년,
years.
30년 가까이를 수도 생활을
They are
통해서
priests created through
만들어진
monastic life
신부들이고 주교들이고
and bishop,
그렇습니다.
and that's it.
근데 밀링고
But there's no
대주교는
one who
이해할
could
사람은
understand
하나도
Archbishop
없어요.
Malingo.
그러니까 밀링고
Therefore,
대주교는
Archbishop Malingo must be
정신병자다. 그렇지
a
않으면
mentally
그럴
ill
수가
person.
없다. 이랬는데
This was the case.
밀링고
Many such books
대주교가
were
밖에
published.
이제 나왔으니까 그런 책들이
And this
많이
happened because
나왔는데
Archbishop
이거를
Malingo
해명을 해야 될
is not
거예요.
necessary to
아니에요.
clarify this.
그래서
So we traveled
저희들은
around the world
전 세계를 돌아다니면서 밀링고
for
대주교는
train Archbishop
정상적인
Malingo as
정신으로
mentally sound,
하나님의
receiving
메시지를
God's
받고
messages and under
하나님의
God's
명령에
command.
의해서 참
He
부모님으로부터
received
축복을
blessings from the
받았다.
true parents
이거를
and
참부모님을
worked to
알리는
inform
것이
people about the
저희들의
true
산
parents. This was our
길이었습니다.
path.
그래서 저희들은
So we spared no
이것저것
effort,
아끼지 않고 전 세계를
traveling
돌면서
around the world,
결혼한
gathering married
신부들을
priests.
모아서 원리 수련을
Our
하는
work was to
것이
conduct
저희들의
fundamental training.
일이었습니다. 그래서
So,
많은 나라에
traveling to many
다니면서
countries,
참 서품식도
we
하고
conducted ordination
원리 강의도
ceremonies,
하고
gave fundamental
수련도
lectures,
하고
and did
여러 가지를
workshops,
했는데
doing various things,
실질적으로
uniting
참부모님과
practically with
하나
the true
돼가지고
parents.
할 수 있는 사람이
There's no
없어요.
one who can do
그래서
this.
제가
So I thought,
생각하기를 밀링고 대주교도
since Archbishop
40일
Malingo also
수련해서
underwent a 40-day workshop
넘어갔으니
and finished,
우리도 한번 40일
let's conduct a
수련을
40-day
시켜보자.
workshop as well.
이래가지고
Thus, we
40일
decided to conduct a 40-day
수련을
workshop.
시키게 되었습니다. 그래서 일주일 동안은
So for 1 week, we only did fundamental lectures.
완전히 원리 강의만 하고 그리고 두 번째
And in the
주에는
second week,
아버님
we went on a
생애노정과 함께
pilgrimage to holy sites along with the
아버님
biography of
생애노정과
True
함께
Father.
성지순례를 했습니다. 저
These are the priests in
문대
workshop crying at the
바위에서
rock of
울고 있는
tears.
수련받던 신부들입니다. 그리고 세
And in the third
번째는
week, we attended UPF.
UPF 참석을 하고
we would prompt, shouldn't we check True Father's achievements? So we introduced True Father's achievements. But without spirituality, if there was no spiritual experience, the theory would quickly disappear. So how can we enable them to have spiritual experiences? After contemplating, so that all these people can have spiritual experiences, along with a request to let them feel and go, we conducted a one-night, two-day retreat. But later, when I heard and saw many priests, almost all said, I received the fire of the Holy Spirit, the fire descended. Now I no longer have sleep paralysis. Thus, they still love Chunkyang very much. Our priests for making everyone have spiritual experiences. And then in the fourth week, we conducted divine principle charting and drawing. In the morning, we taught the fundamentals and reviewed them. And in the afternoon, we made it so that they could actually give fundamental lectures. This was beyond my expectation. When people who have studied the Bible for over 20 years learned the fundamentals, it was truly a remarkable achievement. It was really difficult to find technicians when going to Zambia because there were no electricians almost every day. So I thought it would be good to have an electrician. I witnessed an electrician. And electricians, and since we have a pastor next to them, we gathered a few people like pastor and conducted fundamental training. These two children were like, oh, madam, I heard the Unification Church has something called a marriage blessing. At what age can one receive the blessing? They asked me that. Honestly, they asked me that. I responded, I understand that around 18 years old, one probably can receive the blessing. Then both of these children said in unison, I am 16 years old. In 2 years, I can receive the blessing. I am still pure, so I will wait and receive the blessing. Such changes have occurred. Because our school goes up to 12th grade, I have a lot of hope. When I return to Zambia, for these young people, we plan to actively conduct fundamental training. Thank you. It is nothing less than a miracle that this person moved into our house and that they undergo training and changes like this because they have made resolutions through Chunchim One prayer. I feel that such miracles are happening. At this time, what I have been waiting for and prayed for is please make the Zambia hospital a hospital that saves lives. Make me someone who truly loves Africa as I love my own self. Please send one member who loves Africa. I always pray like that. We have always prayed for Director Lee Ki-sung as well. This time, miraculously, someone appeared. But that person, even before receiving blessings, received a revelation to go to Africa and do volunteer work. So I said to the person, I don't have money, so I can't even pay for the flight this time. What should I do? Don't worry, I will borrow and go. So on August 28th, I am going to Africa. I have already bought a plane ticket. I will no longer trouble director. Now that such a person has appeared, now look at my back. I lived in indescribable pain. When I opened my eyes, all that was dark now became bright. When I walked like this, I felt like a tree swaying in the wind. I felt like I was floating while walking. When we go to Johnshill, the bus exits at exit 6. Then to take the subway, you must go down the stairs. I couldn't go down there alone. Sometimes I had to hold on to the railing to go down, afraid of getting dizzy and falling or stumbling. And during such difficulties, I went to an Oriental medicine clinic and first received acupuncture. After resting a bit, I would visit the market and come back. But if you're wondering how bad my back pain was,
저 등짝을 한번
Look at my
보십시오.
back.
생긴 거는
It looked like a radish.
바람들은 무같이 생겼었어요. 침을 찌르면 쑥
When
들어가는
acupuncture needles
바람들은
pierced, it resembled a radish with mugwort. The color was like that, right? Barely surviving with moxibustion.
가는데 천심원에서
I prayed at Chanchimwan and my back is now like
제
this
등짝이
now.
지금이에요. 저 등은 지금이에요.
This is my back now.
색깔이 다르죠?
The color is different, right?
뜸자리도 이제
The
없어졌습니다.
moxibustion spots are gone now because I'm not doing
이렇게
moxibustion. They
기적적으로
disappeared miraculously.
나섰습니다. 그런데
But
감사합니다.
thank you.
그래서
So I really want to just live at Chanchimwan.
천심원에 그냥 살고 싶고 아프리카로 가고 싶지
And I don't want to go to
않아서
Africa, so that's a big problem.
근데
But I have to go.
합니다. 그리고 우리 밀링고 대주교는
And our Archbishop Malingo in 2021,
21년에 거의 죽어가는
and when he left Korea
분을
almost
모시고
dying,
한국에 나왔어요. 이제 성화를 하려고
we left ready to perform the
나와가지고
Songwa ceremony.
거기다가 또 코로나
Additionally,
때문에
because of COVID, there is a 14-day
14일간 격리를
quarantine.
하는데요. 그때 그
The shock at that time was
진짜
severe.
뭐 토하면은요.
He would vomit black material,
이게 막
and his throat would
여기가
become blocked, making gurgling sounds.
하니까 이게 나중에 죽을 때
I noticed that when people are near death, they often die from phlegm blocking their airways. When someone reaches this state, they can't even go to the market because they are constantly battling with phlegm. Even when we try feeding them pear juice, we would just throw everything up. This blood sugar would drop as low as 20. And I never knew the human body could produce so much fluid. The sweat would come out by the spoonful, completely soaking through the bedding and clothes.
옷이 다 젖을 정도의 그런
While my husband was living day by day in this condition, his willpower must have been incredibly strong. Archbishop would keep his eyes wide open, fighting hard not to die. I heard that when people are finally about to pass, they release their spirit. But sometimes, if you try to hold on to that spirit, there's a chance that might come back to life at some point. So our Archbishop safely completed 14 days of quarantine and came to H.J. Magnolia International Medical Center. When he arrived, anyone could see that this person was someone who was going to pass away. I didn't expect him to come back to life. Even the doctor said they couldn't guarantee anything. When they said that, I asked someone to get a funeral portrait and realized that I had to do the final prayer because he could suddenly pass away any one day. I went to manager Kim Jong-hyun and asked him, please, before he passes away, pray for our Archbishop at least once. I requested it, and then Director Lee Ki-sung came and prayed intensely. Since then, I felt like his face was becoming more alive. Gradually, he started to get better. After 3 months, he took off the oxygen respirator. Then shortly after, removed the nasal tube and removed the urinary tube and recovered. Because the white blood cell, it was a tremendous recovery. I learned that in our country there are 8 types of antibiotics available. Our hospital had only 6 of them, so they had to urgently bring in the other 2 types for treatment. The medical staff really went above and beyond. But both the nurses and doctors gave their absolute best care. Sometimes when the feeding tube would accidentally get pulled out through his nose, they'd have to insert it again. And he kept surviving through tube feeding. So would you like to know how it all turned out? He recovered and woke up. He recovered. But then another crisis came this year. Archbishop's abdomen, he couldn't breathe properly and couldn't lie flat on his back, only on his side. and his breathing was severely
깜빡깜빡해가지고
labored. Even the
병원에서도 너무
hospital doctor was
놀래가지고
alarmed,
저게 복수냐
wondering whether it was
가스냐
ascites or
이게 복수
gas.
같으면
They
큰일
said if it was
나는데
ascites, it would
일단
be very
검사를 하자.
serious, so they
그래갖고
decided to run
해보니까
tests. But
다행히
fortunately, it turned
병과
out to be
가스였어.
stool and gas buildup.
그래가지고
But with enemas, nothing would come out.
아무리 뭐 관장을 해도 이게 빠져나가질 않아요. 그래가지고
The
이게
gas
가스도
wouldn't
잘 안
pass
나가요.
either.
그러면은
Our
이거를
hospital
우리
didn't have the
병원에는
equipment to
저
remove
가스
gas.
패는 기계가 없대요. 그래갖고
So they
다른
said,
병원에 가서 응급실로 가서
we
이걸
need to go to
빼내야
another
된답니다.
hospital's emergency room
그런데 제가
to have it
느낌에
removed.
아무래도
However, since I
한번
had previously witnessed the power
기도의
of prayer,
효력을 받기 때문에 천심원에
I
한번
decided to ask
부탁해보자.
Chuncheon for
이
help
아주
first.
팀을
I thought we
보내든지
could
뭐
try having
뭐를
their prayer
하든지
team or
기도팀을
healing
하든지 이렇게
ministers
해서
come.
한번 시도를
And if
해보고
that
안
didn't
되면은
work,
뭐 할 수 없다 이렇게
we could try
했어요.
other options.
그런데
Kim Duk-soo's healing team
김덕수
came and prayed,
안수실장님
performing their
팀들이
healing
와서
ministry.
기도를 해주고 안수를 해주고
After 3 days, he finally had a
이랬는데
bowel movement.
3일 만에
It was so
전을
much that came
봤는데요.
out,
그렇게 많이
and the
나오고
amount of gas
가스가
was incredible.
얼마나 나오는지 진짜 저걸 두고
We
어떻게
thought, how did
살았을까
he
할
even
정도로
survive with
그
all of
많은
that
것을
size? So he
빠져나가서
recovered after all of that
살아났습니다. 그러고는
and was released.
그러니까 본인도 알잖아요. 본인도
So he himself knows. He knows he was healed through
나왔다는 거를 얼마나
Chuncheon
고통스러웠다가
after experiencing such terrible
천심원
suffering and
기도팀들이 와서
then getting
이렇게
better
하니까
after the Chuncheon
자기가
prayer team's
좋아졌으니까.
visit. He was
그리고
transformed, and
지난번에
during the
대역사
last great
때
works,
제가
when I
청평
suggested we go to
수련회
Champang
가자 우리
Training
안수
Center
할까
for
그랬더니
healing prayer,
가자고
he eagerly agreed and
그래갖고
even performed
저를
healing prayer for
안수를
me,
해주는 겁니다. 나를
hoping
좋아하자.
for my own well-being.
우리는 이런 기적
We are
속에
living
살아가고
amidst such
있습니다.
miracles.
이제는
I encourage you all
청평에
to pray at Chuncheon
천심원에서 기도하시고 천심원의
in
은혜도
Chunpyeong and receive its
받으시기를
grace as well.
부탁드립니다. 감사합니다.
Thank you.
Let's give a big hand to Miss Malingo. Wow. Okay. Very personal, very deep account of her experiences, her challenges and overcoming through the Chuncheon one. We don't have a lot of time, but if I can just say, often we see these big leaders who get a spouse from a father. Obviously, we know the story, the general story. Archbishop Malingo, I guess he was an archbishop, so they're not supposed to be married, but father married him anyway. Yeah, these people are real. This is a real human being with a life and challenges and struggles with Africa and being the mother of Africa, these sort of things. And she too needs to pray and find peace in the Chuncheon or Wanju, Paju Wanjan, and so it's beautiful. I think we all can relate to what she's saying, and even she struggled with father sometimes. And this is the path. This is what families do. We disagree, but ultimately we attend. We stick together at the end of the day. So that is my reflection. Thank you.
And there's so much more to their story. I mean, there's a whole big story before where she started off here, of him getting kidnapped and being held prisoner in the Vatican, and her having to do a 7-day fast. There's a whole lot more involved. But I guess maybe another time she'll share about that. So thank you, everyone. Are we gonna have? We don't have any announcements, do we?
No, but just let's pray for Phil.
Okay.
Right? He was admitted into the hospital for his seizures becoming severe again. So so I'm gonna keep watch until he's stabilized. He called me today, let me know he's there.
Okay.
Uncle Richard told me earlier, but yeah, I got a call from him. So he's doing okay. But yeah.
All right, thank you. Definitely. All right, family, let's have our residence prayer. Begin with Abaji Omini.
Chuncheon Residence Prayer, Shijak, Abaji, Omani.
Let's pray.
Good evening, happy parent. Good evening, parents. Happy parent. Pray for the parents. Number one, for the safety of true parents and the true mothers. Number two, a victorious entrance into families and communities one young. Number three, the successful witness to new people, especially young people, and produce third growth. Number four, for the unification of North and South Africa. Number five, to overcome our crisis in the world and to realize that heaven is right world. Prayer points among Adam bless up again Korea. 23 second and third Johnson. 8 fourth Johnson Republic. 8 second Minister 16 Korea. Rate 20,000. Having parent and true parents, I pray for true mother along with her good health. For true father, I pray for looking over us, helping us. I pray. Having parent and true parents, for Joe one more other son. I pray for brothers.
사랑으로 감싸 주시네
참 사랑으로 감싸 주시네
Thank you, family. Please forgive our technical difficulties. The area where Reverend Josh has to set up to do this from Las Vegas doesn't have such good connection, so it'll get better when he comes home in December 4th. So everyone have a good night. Thank you for coming. If you want to stay and pray, please feel free to do so. Good night. Ciao, ciao, yo.